Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Seda. If you can speak Somali, call me Seda, but Seda's cool.
So we are housemates. We've been housemates for like a week now,
Yes,
I think.
maybe more. Has
Yeah,
it been? I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is the vibes have been nothing but great. Scrumdiddlyumptious. We're vibing. And we've just been having super good conversations. So I wanted to have you on the channel. One of the things I want to touch on first was how we were talking about how we just came to Brazil and we're able to feel so comfortable because there's just such a mixing pot here. But not just a mixing pot of like a lot of different types of people, but specifically like brown and black women, and how nice it is to be in another culture that's not yours and feel so welcomed. I feel like Brazilians in general are some of the nicest people I've met, stranger wise.
Yeah.
And it's really refreshing. And I have a long time here. You've been here for how long?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
On the nose, yeah.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. It's been the best 2 weeks.
I love
Honeymoon
that.
Stage. Yeah. Like, it's so, for me as well, coming from like a big city like London, and I think this probably applies to most big cities across Europe, if not the world, where it's like people are in their own bubble. When it comes to meeting new people, like it can be quite challenging, and we do actually rely on apps a lot more in London in terms of meeting people, whether it's like platonically, like meeting friends through like Bumble or like Hinge on dating apps. So it's been it's been so nice just to come up to people, and there's still a language barrier for me because no fala Portuguese here.
Ooh.
But it's been amazing just how like warm they are, like if you're lost, if they're just saying hi to you, like it's just nothing but like love. And it's so natural to them. Like, it's nothing unusual to them for them to be, oh my god, like how's your day? Like that's the most amazing part. Like it's just normal, like it's absolutely normal.
Yeah.
And seeing other Brazilians do it amongst themselves, like I'll be standing in like a queue to pay something in a shop, and then I can see like the customer and the person that's working behind the till, like they're vibing with each other, laughing, I'm just like, London could never. Like maybe some pockets, but not really.
I think I've learned a lot of things since I've been here, but the two biggest things I think are definitely is like to acknowledge the people that are around you, because same thing in LA, everybody is just so like in their own world. You can pass 10 people and they will not make eye contact with you. It's like you didn't pass anybody. If you fall and trip, nobody's gonna help you.
Yeah.
Like it'll just be you. Ironically, I think it's a pretty lonely city. Like there's so many people, but it's hard, at least it has been for me, like to actually have a deeper connection with people and to actually have a relationship that's not based on business or what's mutually beneficial. And so coming here and meeting people who don't want anything from me and are just interested in being my friends has been so nice. And it's also taught me to like relax. Not everybody has an ulterior motive, but you kind of get that way when you're in a city. It's like, oh, this person just wants something from me. Like you don't have as much faith in friendships, or you don't have as much patience for them because you just expect to be disappointed. You just expect people don't actually want to invest time in you. Or I've had it where it's so loud right now.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, city vibes. Oh.
It's an airplane. Why is there an airplane?
An airplane, a moto,
A
dogs.
dogs?
Yeah.
Watch a monkey come out here. Watch. What's gonna happen?
Hi. I'm jumping in because today we have a sponsor. Temu is the #1 free app in the App Store. They are having a surprise sale. With this anniversary sale, you can get thousands of items for only $1. Only on the Temu app. Want to know what some of the best items and coolest items are on Temu? Go to Temu's top pick list. You can find out what influencers' favorite items are. Using my code, you can get more coupons and deep discounts. I personally just got back from Brazil, a little broke in the bank, so I picked up some dance clothes and I have been dancing in them every single rehearsal. This shirt being one of the items that I picked. Here are a few videos of me rehearsing with the different things that I've picked from Temu, and I really use my clothes. As you can see, I'm really dancing in these. You can get so much cool stuff, like some of the items that you're seeing me wearing here. You can get thousands of items for $1 on the Temu app only. Remember that this sale is from September 1st to September 30th. Okay, now I'm going to show you some more stuff that I got from Temu. So I got these two baskets. and I put stuff in them so you could see what it looks like when they have stuff in them, because they hold a bunch of stuff. I also got this, which was kind of important for me in braiding my hair a lot more now that I'm dancing all the time, to protect it. Homegirl is not spraying. So satisfying. I also got this because I'm like going out of purses. It doesn't quite fit my phone, but it fits my other important stuff like my keys and stuff. I got a travel bag for toiletries, and it has some stuff in it so you can actually see how much it holds. And then I'm gonna picture on the screen this wind chime that I got from my mom and this little flower thing I got from my sister. I didn't want to open them because I got them like as gifts for them. I also got this food scale for cooking, but I haven't put batteries in it yet. So, and then the last thing I'm gonna try on, it's just like a cute little, slip-on one piece, and it's really comfy. I love these for dancing because they're so easy to put on and take off before and after rehearsals or dance classes. So if you are interested in any of these products, make sure to download the Teemu app, search code DKB4765 to get a $100 coupon bundle, or click the link in the description. Thank you, Teemu, for sponsoring this video. Yeah, it's really nice to just make actual friendships, have an environment that like attracts people who are of the same sentiment, who want to actually have lasting friendships, who actually care about like the people that are around them. I remember in Salvador, one thing that I saw a lot was there's like people who live in the street, and anytime someone had leftovers, they would always give to the people who didn't have food. If somebody on the street started talking to somebody, like started a conversation, they would actually stop and talk to them. In LA, it's like, oh, get away from me. Or like, oh, go. Just such a visceral reaction. And I have heard so many stories in podcasts of people who felt so dehumanized by that. Like, their life doesn't matter, or like, if you can't afford to be someone who's functioning in society, or you make a mistake that causes you to be a person who can't function in society, your life no longer matters. And you're treated like a shadow or a ghost. And that is something that I noticed is a big difference here. And like, granted, my experience is nuanced, just like everybody else's. I don't know what goes on in all of Brazil, but just from seeing other people be so compassionate to strangers has taught me a lot and made me really reflect on myself, of like, how human am I to other humans? And
can you say that once more? Wait, already? Like 10 seconds in?
Being here has really helped me reanalyze my morals and really take time for someone who's just on the street or somebody who's asking for help. And even today, I was literally complaining. I'm like, this person keeps asking me so many questions, and like, I'm just frustrated because blah, 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 blah. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, but if this person sees you as as like a source of information, as someone who's safe to ask for help, just appreciate that part. Instead of just being like, oh, this is inconveniencing me and blah, blah, blah. And so, I'm just grateful to have been taught that literally from strangers, or like people who have been passerbyers and are just living their lives.
No, it's really, I think it's inspiring, and it sounds like for you it's had such a profound effect. I mean, in terms of meeting people and sustaining friendships and making new friends, your morals, like you said. And I think, like you said, like, I can't remember the last time I learned something from like observation. So I've been here for like 2 weeks, so it is going to be limited, my experience, but so far, like, the observations have been amazing. Like, just to touch on literally this afternoon when we were walking back home now. Okay, so I have an older brother who's Down syndrome. So I think when you have a sibling or like a family member who's got some sort of like learning difficulty or disability, it's a very special relationship. You love the person, you care for them, like you feel extra protective and stuff. So then in the UK, like, it varies, like every person who's got Down syndrome, like, it's different because it's a whole spectrum. So a lot of them are very loving, they'll touch you, they'll say hi to you, there's stuff like that. But then every time I was out with him, I'd have to be really mindful that he doesn't do it to strangers and that it doesn't cause like discomfort for them or like any situations. And I feel very like scared and anxious about it because you don't want to be the person that causes problems, but then you don't also want to feel self-conscious as well. But today in the shop, when you were looking for your popcorn and you walked up the shop and I was just standing there waiting, I saw a young Down syndrome boy and this lady, and he was like hugging her tight, and he was kissing her, and I think he was telling her that he liked her and stuff, and the lady was like just kind of accepting it. She was like, oh, thank you. I thought that was his mum. It was a stranger. Wow. And she let him, and she took him out, and then she smiled at me, and she went, and I was like, oh my god, like that really pulled on my heartstrings. Like I could have shed a tear, but I was like, hold it together. But for me was like the most touch. Like I had never seen that in all the years I had. Like I've never seen any like one, like in terms of like any, if you have any disability or whatever, like be received so lovingly and so patiently, and just like left. Like that was, I think that I will never forget.
Yeah,
so I've never seen that anywhere. So that was like, I was like, this place is just phenomenal. Like, like I have never like and even like friendships, like especially as an adult, like you kind of lose the skill or the environment to make new friends, to make new people, like to meet them, especially like you said, like people like eyeing each other up. What can you do for me? How can I use you to climb up the next place? Which can be like, after a while, it's like you just lose any interest. It's kind of demoralizing. You just think, we know what the transaction is here. Yeah. But I think in Brazil, and just in traveling for me, it's reminded me that there are people who are still open to normal, genuine friendships. There are people who still want to get to know you, and that I'm still a sociable person. I think for a while I kind of lost that muscle of like taking the time to meet someone, to see like, how are you, what are your interests, and taking a genuine interest instead of just making small talk. Like, that is another muscle that I feel like I forgot I actually enjoy this. Yeah. So to be in an environment like here where that's reciprocated and like encouraged and stuff, even with the language barrier, it's been, I think, remarkable. Like I won't forget it.
The women that I've come across, Brazilian and not Brazilian, have been the ones who have really inspired me the most to just be more of a friend to people, because the women that I've met here have been so outgoing and so just para frente. They just do what they want to do, and I really appreciate it. And it's really interesting because I recently learned about how bad women are treated socially, and how hard it is for women here. Because I could only observe so much, but I didn't actually know until I went to kind of like a sit down where these women were talking about what it's like to be a woman in Brazil and how hard it is, especially as a black woman. And that's what it really set in for me. Like, it is really hard. There's a lot of things that these women still aren't able to do, and it just inspired me even more, knowing the women that, like, being able to think back on the women that I do know that are like, you just cannot sense a bit of that. Nothing about them is like holding back. They seem like women who are just completely free. And it's really inspired me to just like do even more, and like go out to talk to people and try harder, and like believe in myself more, now that I feel like I've been given examples of women who are just doing that. And it really does help you to get out of your own self, like you were saying. Like, you forget there are people in the world who also want the same things as you. I remember my best friend told me, like, you think you're the only one going through it, but there's a book about it.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
And so I feel like that's kind of been happening in real time. Like, there's a lot of things that I just was like, it's just me. But I'm just coming across so many people so quickly who also have like a similar experience, that also understand what I'm talking about or what I'm going through. And it's inspiring, because you're like, oh, that's not just me. And now I keep going.
No, it's true. It's true. I think it reminds you a sense of just community. I feel like, like you were saying, we were saying earlier, like, we are girls, and then to be around other girls who are just the girls. Like, I'm just like, I want to hug everyone and not let go for a long time. Like, it's just really to feel embraced. It does a lot. And I feel like as a society, like, especially with our social media and stuff, we are constantly glued to our screen. And I think there are a lot of like pages and profiles and whatever based around creating that community and sharing the troubles and difficulties you're going through. But I think to organically come across someone, having that conversation in real time, it just sits with you more. Like, it really resonates with you so much more. And I'm just like, wow. Like you said, like, especially before I left London, I was I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I know, but I don't know if I'm really ready. Is this the right journey for me? Oh God, But when I've met so many different people, even like coming from 2 different fields and stuff, there's a lot of ways where it meshes in together. Just the like finding your own like rhythm, making sure you stay consistent, like taking care of yourself, like all these things still are relevant to so many parts. And it's like, yeah, you could read a book about it, you could listen to a podcast, all these things are good, but do it in real life, people. Like, it's so nice. Like, it's and it has encouraged me to maybe share a lot more about myself instead of feeling vulnerable and isolated. There's a lot of isolation that happens, I think, if you're not careful. Like, and then that's when you start cocooning yourself and you don't, and then and I think when you share, not when you trauma bond too much, but when you share like your vulnerabilities, the thoughts, and the I'm not sure, is like when you see that outside of yourself, I feel like you have more compassion.
The thing about community also, because there's so many like spaces for things that I've come across, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I just feel like something's missing. Okay, so I just want to jump in real quick because I said spaces and I didn't specify. When I say spaces, I mean that I've come across like community centers or studios that are dedicated to artists, or any space that is for like a collective of people or community, and I walk in and I don't feel super welcome, or it feels like people aren't super close, or I feel like I can't really settle in amongst these people. And the reason why is it's because more than anything, this space is dedicated to business, or it's dedicated to something aside from friendship. Like, it's still transactional at the base. So that was why I was saying, like, I just don't really feel as comfortable as I want to. So I hope that's clear.
I think friendship in adulthood,
yes,
that I think is a big one that I didn't realize. Like, I feel like you kind of take it for granted in terms of like, when you go to school, you make your friends in the playground or the classroom. You go to after school activities, you make friends there. You play on the streets. Remember when we could just go up to someone like, hey, do you want to play with me? Like, let's go on this bike, let's climb that tree. Like, okay, we don't really do those things anymore. Like, you can't go across a room somewhere unless you're in like a dating situation. Like, hey, do you want to hang? I like this, let's do this. Like we did now. Like, it's so nice and organic. And I think I would love for those. I think that's something I'm going to take away with me for sure. Like, I don't care if I get like rejected or I look like a or whatever. I'm going to do that a lot more. And I think there's a lot of people who are ready to receive that. I don't think they're ready to necessarily extend that out, even though they do want to. And I would like to be that person that initiates it and see how it is.
Yes. I love being someone who initiates.
Yeah.
Because that's when someone receives and is receptive to that energy, sparks fly, and it's so awesome to watch and to be a part of. That is what I wanted to say, is like the vulnerability and just being so for real right away. Like, I want to be your friend, I like you, let's do something together, let's make something happen, like, let's build a bond. And I feel like a lot of people are so afraid of just like building bonds just to be around other people. And I think it's because people are jaded, and also people are really hurt. It's hard to be vulnerable, it's hard to just want to be friends with somebody. And the other thing is, like, one of our biggest commonalities is that, like, we are strangers in a different place. We're not from here. And our, like, where we come from is different. So we have, like, just so many things to connect on, like, similarities from where we come from, learning new things together, exploring things and being, like, in the same place. And I feel like travel is one of the easiest ways where you can just kind of be on the same level as somebody. But a lot of people don't want to get on somebody else's level. Like, if they're not already on their level, it's like, I don't really have for this.
There's no flexibility, is there? There's no give and take. It's like, there's not much giving. And I think that is part of, like, being vulnerable. Like, you do have to give some part of yourself. Whether it's the not so shiny, put together part of you, or it's the one that's got her together and knows what to say, when to say it. That is a lot of giving. However, like, it does produce a lot of taking as well. Like, if it's done right, it's beautiful. So I think, it's a skill. It's a skill that maybe we all once used to have when we were kids, and then we've kind of, like you said, we've become jaded. It's become harder, and I think there is a sentiment, like I said earlier on in the day, like about keeping your circle small. I think this whole feeling of like isolation and like I'm not gonna let anyone hurt me no matter what, I'm not gonna make a fool of myself, has made everyone more on guard. It's made people less, like their friendship circle and the people in their life a lot smaller. And I think in some sense that is necessary and good, but then I also feel like you're cutting yourself off so much. And other skills in life, like what it means to deal with rejection, like at least you know how to deal with that now. You've done it. Or how to deal with someone letting you down. I'm not saying all these things are great, but they're a necessary part of life, and you have to take some of the shit with the amazingness that comes with it.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't have like a bunch of childhood friends, so I think that is, I used to fantasize when I was little. I was like, oh, well, when I grow up I'll have like these amazing friends, and I'll have this place that's just mine, and I won't have A, B, and C worry that I have now.
Okay.
And it didn't pan out exactly like that. But I do think that that's something I didn't realize separated me from a lot of people, is that they had these like childhood friends who they made when they were like 7, and then they just kind of stick to that.
Yeah.
And it's a good and bad thing. It's great to have super long lasting friendships. It's important to build those kind of bonds, but at the same time, like you said, it really hinders you if you're not exploring other things. And sometimes people don't grow. So there are a lot of friends that I've had in my life who I really cared about, and I was like, come on, like please come with me. And like there's not really anything that you can do about it. And some people are like, well, if I just don't change, then they won't have to go anywhere. And it's like, that's not a solution.
It's not
a solution.
No.
You have to change, you have to grow.
Yeah.
And like you won't get to the point where you get to be in Brazil meeting this awesome person and you just like happen to click and be friends. You're with the same friends that you were with back then that like at this point you don't even really like that much, or things get boring. Like there's just, life is so vibrant, there's so much to learn, to see, to explore, to be a part of. And it is a privilege to be able to travel and see those things, to really believe it. And it can be hard because you stop believing after you see them. You don't see them for a while. They don't seem real anymore, but they're real. And like you said, sometimes you have to be the one to reach out in order to like see those sparks flying, in order to find those people. And environment plays a huge part, but when you choose for yourself also, like I'm gonna be this type of person, and whatever happens outside of that, you know, if it's not reciprocated every time, if I look like an idiot, then that's just like that. I'm just gonna 100% be who I want to be. And me trying to be more vulnerable, being more honest, and being more open with like the things I'm feeling, the things I'm able to do, just letting it all hang out has really helped me, one, not feel like I have to clean up these different things and different parts of me that like aren't great. Because like we all at the end of the day. And so when you live your life like that, like you'll find other people who are like, yeah girl, I too. And it's just like, I'd much rather just be able to see real from far away and know I'm real. And that's it. Like life just becomes simpler when you live like that.
Oh my god, I want to be like you when I'm older. Can I just get to there already?
You're already here.
I am.
You're already here.
I am. But I feel like you really embody, and I love this about you. Honestly, and I feel like you really believe it, and you say it in the most non-pretentious way. Like I believe you when you say it, because there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, feelings, people, and they do all of these things, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
But to really live it and embody it, and to really take it, even if it requires taking the L sometimes, and saying that's like goals, like absolutely. And it is hard. Like it's a skill.
There's a big difference between being carefree and being nonchalant, and I think a lot of people take the nonchalant route, which is just turning the faucet off to all these feelings. But being actually carefree is taking the L. Is like falling on your, getting back up and be like, yeah, I fell. Yes, and it's working. Yes. It's also the like farting in front of your boyfriend. Like it's the ugly parts. You have to do the gross and ugly parts and the not so fun parts. And you have to say the uncomfortable things to actually be carefree. Because the reality is the nonchalant person, like, there's so much going on behind there. They're just not telling you.
It's like a factory, like just like there's a lot happening, and it usually explodes. There's always a time when it re-submerges to the surface, like it always happens.
And the reason I know so well is because I was that person. I was like, doesn't matter, it's fine. Like, I just totally shut down. And then one day it wasn't. And I was like, why am I doing this, bruh? Like, this, it just kind of clicked. It happened in, like, phases. But most recently, like, when I got here and I was able to just observe, like you said, all these different little things started clicking for me. And I was like, this. Like, life could be so much sweeter if I just don't care. If I just, like, be who I want to be. And also, the minute that I'm like, you look like someone who just wants to be who you want to be, let's just do that together. Everything is better. Everything is sweeter.
That's so beautiful. It sounds like Brazil. I think it's like two things seem like they were married. Like, where you were, like you have to be in a place to be ready to have that come in and to absorb that. Yes. And I think maybe the environment just being so suitable for you, it just like made something amazing. And I think it sounds like something switched on and maybe something switched off.
Yes, definitely.
That's incredible.
It also has a lot to do with trauma, because there are a lot of things that, like, I just had to cry it out. I had to let go. People I had to let go. And the good things don't come without sacrifice. There's no sun without rain. And so I just kind of had to suck it up and be like, well, I'm going to go through this. And it's going to suck, but the other side is so much more worth it.
I believe that. I really believe that. And I think I'm going through like a somewhat similar journey. Like, I think for me, like, if I had to verbalize it, it's just coming from like a background in a culture where there are strong expectations waiting for you, and this is what we expect from you, particularly like my family and stuff, that I'm still trying to like detangle and like take out and stuff like that. For some reason I feel this strong like sense of like obligation and like having people live through me and knowing that I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed, so make sure I do this and this. But I do feel like since traveling and since being here and since meeting wonderful people like yourself, like it's really made me think, okay, but is it really serving you? Like, is it really giving it what it needs to? Like, it's not. And I do feel like I'm getting to that point. And it is a journey. Like, I don't think you'll ever get to the point where you're just like chilling all the time and you're just like, this is so easy and breezy. Like, it is gonna ebb and flow, which I accept. But I think for me, I feel like things are clicking, and it's the most amazing feeling just when you feel that sense of like confidence and sense of like focus and that sense of like, I'm gonna do me, and people may or may not understand, but I'm gonna try and be as compassionate as I can, as open-minded as I can, and as genuine as I can. And that's hard. And I think unfortunately maybe there's a lot of people who won't be ready to take that on or will never experience that, but it's the most amazing thing. And I think I would wish everyone to go for it. Just that final, like, life is so much more simple if you let it be. Like, if you just accept it and take it for what it is, I think you'll have the most glorious time.
Actually, I do want to, like, zero in on that. This one part is, like, how you said we have different fields.
Yes.
But I think that is something that is really similar, and I'm really glad that I met you and was able to see the similarity in the two of us. It also really benefited me to know that it's not just like, oh, it only happens to artists kind of thing. Like, this is everybody's journey. Hi, jumping in one more time because I just want to clarify the point that I was trying to make. The camera cut off, so it didn't fully come out. But basically what I was saying is I felt really self-conscious as a creative person because I met and knew so many other people who were in different fields or even creative fields similar to my own, who were so much more successful, had so much more stability in their lives, seemed so much more put together and secure, that I was like, man, like, maybe I am just destined for this starving artist thing. Maybe it's only something that people like me go through and it doesn't happen to everyone. And in hindsight, obviously not. There's so many movies made on this very thing about how you decide to change your life and follow your intuition, follow your dreams. It doesn't just happen to creative people. But I really internalized that my problem, or almost like something that I was ashamed of, was the fact that I allowed so much of my creativity to run my life, because if I had just been more normal, then maybe I would have an apartment by now. Maybe I would be more successful. Maybe I wouldn't have struggled to pay for this, that, and the other bill. I mean, those kinds of thoughts were the things that I felt like I was going through on my own, and meeting someone like Saida really showed me that I don't have to blame my creativity or have to find some flaw in myself to make sense of the things that I'm going through. Everybody has struggles, and it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. Honestly, everybody is just out here trying to find themselves.
I'm using myself as an example, as an attempt to be vulnerable.
Ooh.
Page 1, chapter 1. But yeah, like, I think from the non-profit work I did, so I feel like I've been very lucky to have met so many people from different walks of life, whether it's been through my work or through traveling. Like, and I'm very observant. Like, I like to meet people and just think, what's going on here? Like,
Yes.
is there similarities?
Yes.
Is there differences? Like, I've always really, really loved it. And I think it applies to a lot of people, like men, women, no matter your background, culture. Like, we all carry this story and this, like, expectations of, like, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to be married. I should be, you know, like, I'm a man, so I should have, like, a 7-figure job. And then seeing the way it can brutalize people and suck the life out of them, and then very quickly other things come in. And like you said, if you're not doing good yourself, your relationships will suffer, your physical health will suffer, your mental health, of course, will suffer. And I've seen that happen so many times, and it crumbles and it falls, and then it's like almost it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, when you really believe your life is things likely to become even more
Yeah.
like, it kind of falls into it, and then it kind of confirms all your terrible feelings and thoughts and everything, which is terrible, and it's really, really sad. But I think that's kind of what happens really frequently, and I think that's one thing I've noticed. So I'm trying to remind myself exactly what you said. Like, if I'm going to be, you know, the loving person, the loving Saida to my friends, if I have a partner, or like my family, or to strangers, which is a new big one for me, then I need to do me and just really take care of that.
Yeah. Where I'm at now is like, I have to keep peeling back the layers, and now I'm at the point where, like, the whole reason that I have felt lack or something was missing or I needed more of A, B, and C thing was because I was not serving myself. I was not loving myself. I was not compassionate to myself. I wasn't graceful to myself. Yeah. And I had to go on this, quote, selfish journey to learn that in order to have more compassion, in order to have more capacity and, like, the love for humanity, other people that I have now, I had to have it for myself first. One thing that I feel like is where the lines kind of get crossed and things get confused, especially when it comes to family and expectations, is that at some point you got to step away to come back.
Yeah.
And that is super, super scary. But you're your own best friend.
And you did it. You did the most scariest ever. Wow.
It's still a journey. I'm still on it.
Absolutely. But at least you started it. At least you boarded the ship.
You know what, though? You did too. You started.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know the I got for quitting my job and for
really?
Yes. Like, even with for myself, other people are like, oh, okay. Either people are really like, oh my god, you're doing an amazing thing, well done. I wish I could be like that. In my head I'm thinking you could be, but okay. And then and then there's the other side of like, but should you really be quitting your job? Do you not have, like, you know, responsibilities here and stuff? And then I'm like, I mean, I could stay here, but I could also not have a mental breakdown. Like, I could just, like, do something for myself.
There's like one angel, one devil on your shoulder, telling you two different things. And sometimes you have to, like, I ask myself sometimes, I'm like, is this my intuition or is this my fear? Is this actually something that's helping me, or is this trying to hinder me right now? And sometimes it's hard to navigate, because, like, my inner critic was horrible. I would say the most disgusting things to myself.
She's horrible, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's persistent and constant, yeah.
You know what, though? The first time that really checked me was when my inner critic spoke out loud. And somebody else heard it and was like, oh, girl. I was like, yeah. And it was such a small situation. Like, I had cut myself. And I was just, like, running off at the mouth. Like, why did I do that? Like, I'm dumb. Like, this is... just, like... getting so frustrated, and my bestie was like, what are you supposed to do? Like, it was an accident. I was like, wow, okay, maybe I should chill.
Yeah.
And it really made me like step back. But once you're like aware of yourself and how you treat yourself, especially with like having a community of other women and other friends who are like, I'm on this same journey with you, I'm doing this, like, just feeling like you have people who are just like, we're all doing this together, we're all on this journey, and we're exploring this together, it just makes everything feel easier and feel lighter.
Yes.
And it also is like, actually, this other person is following their intuition, I'm not crazy. Like, intuition is real, and I don't have to feel like, oh, maybe this is a bad idea. Like, I just don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm just floating around. Blah, blah, blah. No, there's a path, there's a journey, there's a purpose. And I believe in destiny. Yeah.
It's there for a reason. It's not there by mistake.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you don't have this inner feeling, inner knowing just by the chance of it. Like, I think it serves a purpose. And I think learning how to hone that in is really, really vital. And going back to the external voice, which is so interesting, like, this is why having friends and a sense of community and just verbalizing things is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's in here, you think it's fact. And then the minute you say it out loud, and when you have someone you can like use as a soundboard and be like, well, actually, is that the case? Like, your friend did with you with the cutting. Like, you just think, actually, no, it's not true. And I think that's really important, and why it's really important to say those things out loud, as horrible and as terrible, as scary or stupid they sound, and just to kind of break that fear away and take its power away.
Yes.
Because otherwise it becomes like, for me, my voice become kind of like a dirty secret almost. Like, everyone knows that, you know, that you don't really fit in, and you know, you're not that smart, and you know, like all these voices. And then when you say it out loud, people are like, no, that's not true. Or like in your head, you can say it to yourself, like, actually that sounds a bit off, like that's not true. So it is really important just to externalize it a little bit as well. But yeah, it's really, really important to follow that intuition and differentiate between fear and knowing what's right and meant for you.
Yes. And also, as important as it is to like verbalize things that you say to yourself, I also think it's equally important to like value your friends and verbalize things about them, like, oh, I'm so proud of you. That's one thing that my friend Xaviera said a lot. She'd be like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And that's something that I didn't really hear a lot from my parents. I would like have to do something real big. I had to make it real worth it for me to hear that. And so I would just like be in my room getting small tasks done, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't want to do that, but I finished. And she's like, oh, good, I'm proud of you. And now I'm more able to say it to myself because she made it not such like a heavy word. It wasn't like I have to earn it by doing something crazy. I can just be proud of the little things. And I'm really grateful for her to like, for helping me like get the power of that word back. And also like my best friend, when I was in Jamaica, she was talking to somebody else, and she was like, I can't remember exactly what the conversation was, but it was kind of deep. And she was like, I trust her and she trusts me, and whatever like we decide, I'm cool with it because I trust her. And I was like, oh, you think I'm trustworthy?
I'm gonna cry. That's real.
And I didn't even realize I did not see myself as a trustworthy person. I didn't find myself worthy of being trusted.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't realize I had that because I was so busy thinking about how I didn't trust other people. And so when somebody else verbalized that to me, like they trust me or they care about me or whatever, it just was like, ooh, I just didn't know how to act. I was like,
you swooned a bit. Like,
I did.
Me? Trustworthy?
I was clutching my pearls.
No, because it requires a sense of responsibility. And that's what it is when you have some sort of affection and love from someone. It is responsibility. And you think, I'm worthy of that responsibility. I'm going to do my absolute best now. Like, whatever you want, that's obviously appropriate within reason. You've got it. You've got it. It's all yours. Yeah. And I think that's so amazing that you managed to learn that outside the house and from your friends. See, I think that's, for some people, like, your friends can take that role on for you. And to learn how to, like, compliment yourself. Like, that's a huge, huge task. And I think that for you to have had that is amazing. It sounds
really
life changing
grateful.
a bit. Like it
It's
pushed
a
you
little
up a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's also why it just kind of shocks me that shock is a little dramatic, but I just wish people could understand how important friendships are, because these people, they are your lifelines. They're in a sense your family. I've said for a long time, your family, your friends are just your chosen family.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you have people that like through and through you trust, through and through ride or die. It's just love.
Yeah.
And so that's also why I think like everything ties in. That's why the vulnerability is so important. That's why it's so important to just be like, I want to be your friend right away, and if it's not reciprocated, move on to the next person, and just like put everything in. Build a bond, be ugly, be gross. And that's where the real friendship flourishes, and that's also when that person can really hold you, but you have to allow yourself to be held. You have to allow another person to want to hold you. And it's a scary thing, but it's so worth it, because I don't have that many friendships, but from the few that I do have and I've spent time cultivating, I've learned a million things. A million things.
It's instrumental. Whatever you want to pursue in life, whatever person you want to be, you cannot do it alone. I really you cannot do it. You can get far, I guess, to some degree, but you cannot hit your full potential without scratching your other itches. And I feel like there is an innate part of us, we need to be around people. We are community-based species. Like even in wild and stuff, if you're alone, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be vulnerable. The predator's gonna get you. Extreme example, but it does happen.
It's true.
It's really important. And I feel like my biggest hope is that to take some of the Brazilian flavor of the community and the friendship and the whatever, and just to kind of spread that around more through me. I'm not even gonna tell people about it. I just want to have the actions to show people and to touch them, in terms of oh wow, she's really open and she's really friendly, let's be friends. That's what I want to do, because it will change a lot. And I've got 6 nieces and nephews, and I feel I'm looking at them, the oldest one is 11 years old, and I'm kind of pushing her to make new friends and be okay, but that doesn't matter if if they don't think you're cool, you are cool, and don't be afraid of that. Share your quirks and share that. That's you, that's what makes you distinctive, and people will soon come to love that about you instead of hiding that. I think that's one thing I really want to encourage them, and to step away from the phone. I love social media and stuff, but I think it's kind of make a difficult task a little bit more difficult. And I think that probably those are my takeaways the most, I think.
She's a sexy little mama, just like a dirty daughter.